Okay, so this is just a bit on how I edit my textures. So I usually do the same as you and delete all the duplicates along the side because it's easier. And then I go to edit mode, unlink that, and usually make my image 2048 by 2048. And I just leave the settings as they are because I usually edit it in Photoshop, put my samples up to 30, and then what I do is I go to add modifier. I'll show you first how it is without the modifier. I have a margin of 2 and I just bake. Usually takes a while, so. So this is the mesh that you edited for me. Okay, so usually it looks like this and looks like crap. So what I do is I go to make a new image and I go here to modifier and add subdivision surface and usually set this to about 3. And then I bake. Now it's going to take a long time. Right, and then looks like this, like 10 times smoother. And I just turn the modifier off, and I save this image. And then don't know how it is for Sims 4, but in Sims 3 you need to edge split along these edges again. And the easiest way to do that is to turn on sync, go to face select, select a group of faces, and then I parent them by pressing P. And I just do that for every bit. And then I go back to here, to object mode, and just join it all back together. And now you'll see that they're split again. Right. And then what I was saying to you is that usually it works if you press A and just go to select boundary loops. It usually, this hasn't been edge split yet, so that's why. But it usually just selects the boundary loops instantly. And then I can already see what hasn't been edge split, so. Can just edge split that, should be fine. Now do what you do. There we go, now the whole thing's edge split. Now in Photoshop, I open that picture. Because Sims 3 needs a certain grey colour. Just pretend this is UV mapped, I haven't done that yet. Then what I do is I select the outside, select inverse, make a new layer, color it white, make another new layer, select, modify, expand by 4, and color it white, and switch to black, fill that one with black, fill that one with black. So the top one where that has the bit bigger mesh, I just copy into my alpha layer, because that way, like, because you bake with a rim of 6, I just do this, and then my alpha layer is just a bit wider. And it also means that if I add textures, I don't need to cut them out, because it'll do that with my alpha. Right, for this one, I say filter, blur, Gaussian blur, usually about 3.5. And then I say multiply. And what this does is it gives a black edge. So let me just, I'll save that as D1. Right, why is it not doing that? No. Cutting. Usually it makes black lines along the seam lines. I'm not sure why it's not doing it now. Let me just show you what it usually does, if it's not messing around. It usually makes these black lines. So I'm not sure why it's not doing it with the t-shirt right now, but it usually just gives you like a nice shadowed line around it that kind of looks like sewing. The other thing you can do for sewing is select the outside, select inverse, and then contract it just a little bit. And then make a new layer, go to brush, and select a sewing brush. So I have a couple of these, I can send you them. They're just simple sewing brushes. And make it the size you want the sewing to be. So say like 10. Can't really see that. And now go to Windows, Path, and just press this button. and it turns your edge into a path. And now if you click the path tool, which is this weird pen, and right click and say stroke path, brush, I show you, and then press enter, you'll see you've just highlighted the outline with the brush. So if I save that, see, I now have like sewing lines along my shirt if I want them. And then usually what I do is I will open a texture. So whichever texture I feel like. Just going to use this one to show you. And I'll make it a layer underneath, and I'll turn my thing to soft light. It keeps the shadows but makes it a bit softer. Usually I scale this and stuff. And then move it down a bit. And then it has a texture. But yeah, the path thing is really cool. You can make any selection and make a, so like say, let's go to magnetic lasso. If I go along here, and then say select, modify, expand by 6. Make a bit more, make another 3, and then press that again, and then strip path, new layer, strip path brush, enter. I can make like a sewing line that's kind of just a little bit underneath if I want to. And what I also find kind of cool is that with this soft light, now I can just put another colour on here. And also say soft light on that. And then just make this a bit darker. Like this. Then I've already got a texture on my thing, and all I need to do if I want to make different colours, which is practical for Sims 4, is to just change the colour layer. I don't know, you probably don't like this anyway. But yeah, that's just how to put some sewing lines on it. The other cool thing is, like, if you press somewhere with a brush, let's just make it actually black. If I press here with the brush and then press shift here, it'll make a straight line. So that's easy to make, like some straight sewing lines. Along the sleeves. So yeah, that's not really much of a tip, but kind of shows you what I do. Usually I take my, turn all this off, make a new layer, and I use a special brush, and I use my drawing pad, which I can't be bothered to plug in at the moment. Like this. And then I select a darkish grey, and then I just like, usually not that much. With the drawing pad, obviously, it's a lot easier. But I like highlight some parts, some wrinkles and things. So just blur it in a bit. Usually I spend a lot of time on this, like a couple of hours. then you can kind of just also draw on some wrinkles if you want to. So if I save that, usually I do a lot more of this. You can just see that it kind of highlights the wrinkles a little bit more and gives it a bit more of a smoother look. And show you some, yeah. Okay, that is pretty much it though.